Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. If you play video games, you know the term render distance. To save processing power, the computer only draws the world that is directly in front of you. Everything else, the mountains in the distance, the city behind you, doesn't exist until you look at it. It is just a gray fog waiting to be loaded. But we assume the real world is different. We assume that when we close our eyes, the room is still there. We assume that the horizon exists even if no one is watching it. But what if it doesn't? What if the universe has a RAM limit? And what happens when you move faster than the processor can keep up? Today's story is about Elias Vance, a test pilot for experimental land-speed vehicles. He wanted to break the sound barrier on land. Instead, he broke the simulation. He found the edge of the render distance. And he learned that the only reason the world looks real is because you aren't looking closely enough. If you have ever seen a glitch in real life, a shadow that didn't move or a bird frozen in the air, smash that like button. You might be taxing the CPU. And if you want to see what lies beyond the skybox, subscribe and ring the bell. Loading assets. Please wait. The first glitch. It started on a Tuesday in the Nevada Salt Flats. Elias was driving the Blackbird, a jet-powered car designed to hit 800 miles per hour. The desert was perfect for it. Flat, white, endless. Nothing to hit. He strapped in. The engine roared like a dying star. "Control, this is Vance," Elias said into his radio. "Initiating run. Target speed, Mach 1.1. Copy that, Vance. You are green to go." He punched the throttle. The G-force slammed him back. The world blurred. 300 miles per hour, 500 miles per hour, 700 miles per hour. He was moving faster than any human on land had ever moved. And that's when he saw it. On the horizon there was a mountain range. The Ruby Mountains. But they didn't look like mountains. For a split second they looked like pyramids. Smooth, gray, featureless triangles. No rocks. No trees. Just basic geometric shapes. Elias blinked. Snap. In an instant the texture popped in. The gray triangles were suddenly covered in detailed rock and snow. The trees appeared out of thin air. "Did you see that?" Elias asked Control. "See what, Vance?" "Telemetry is normal. The mountains. They lagged. They didn't load in time." "You're moving fast, Vance. It's just heat haze. Vibration affecting your optic nerve." Elias slowed down. He accepted the explanation. It was just a trick of the eye. But that night he couldn't sleep. He stood on his porch looking at the moon. He squinted. For a second, the moon looked like a flat 2D sprite pasted onto the sky. It lacked depth. Then as he focused, the craters appeared. Elias whispered. "Level of detail. It's optimizing." The obsession. Elias began to test the world. He drove his regular car down empty highways at 3 a.m. He figured that if the system had limited resources, it would allocate less processing power when fewer observers were around. He was right. One night, driving through a dense forest, he turned his headlights off and then immediately back on. For a microsecond, the trees weren't there. The headlights illuminated a void. Then the forest flickered into existence. He bought a high-speed camera. A Phantom Flex, capable of shooting 1,000 frames per second. He pointed it at a busy intersection in Las Vegas. He played the footage back frame by frame. Frame 1, an empty street. Frame 2, a wireframe mesh of a car appears. Frame 3, the car is fully rendered. "It's procedural," Elias recorded in his journal. "The cars aren't real. They are spawned just before they enter my field of view to create the illusion of traffic. The world is being generated for me." He showed the footage to his wife, Sarah. "Look." Elias pointed at the screen. "The car spawns in." It wasn't there. Sarah looked at him with worry. "Elias, it's just a camera artifact. You're working too hard. You're stressed." "I'm not stressed, Sarah. I'm an observer. I'm consuming too much memory. If I look at too many things at once, the frame rate drops. Haven't you noticed? When it rains, everyone drives slower. It's not safety. It's because the physics engine can't handle the water particle effects and the car velocity at the same time." Sarah left the room. She thought he was crazy. But Elias knew. The simulation was running on old hardware. And he was going to crash it. The speed run. He returned to the Salt Flats. He didn't tell Control. He stole the key to the Blackbird at midnight. He modified the engine. He removed the safety limiters. He added an illegal nitrous injection system. He wasn't trying to break a speed record. He was trying to outrun the render speed of the universe. "If I go fast enough," Elias muttered, strapping himself in, "I'll hit the loading wall." I'll see what's on the other side. He fired the engine. The sound shattered the silence of the desert. He accelerated. 400 miles per hour. The desert floor began to blur. 600 miles per hour. The mountains in the distance reverted to low-poly shapes. The pop-in was getting worse. The system was struggling to keep up with his coordinates. 800 miles per hour. The sky began to glitch. The stars flickered. The moon vanished and reappeared as a white cube. Come on. Elias screamed, his skin peeling back from the G-force. Load. I dare you. 1,000 miles per hour. He was moving faster than the chunk loading algorithm. Suddenly, the world ahead of him stopped rendering entirely. The desert didn't end. It just stopped. Ahead of him was a void. A gray, featureless abyss. No ground. No sky. Just the default background color of the engine. I found it, Elias whispered. The void. He didn't brake. He drove straight into it. The crash. The car hit the edge of the rendered map. There was no impact. No explosion. The car simply fell through the geometry. Elias felt a sensation of falling but not down. He was falling out. The cockpit of the Blackbird dissolved. The metal turned into wireframe, then into green binary code, then into nothing. Elias was floating. He looked around. He saw the Earth. But it wasn't a globe. It was a flat plane, a map floating in an infinite black space. He could see the edges of the map where the ocean simply cut off. He saw the code. Streams of data flowing like waterfalls. He saw labels floating over objects. Object, mountain underscore for, object, cloud underscore cumulus underscore, entity, Elias. And then he saw them. The admins. They weren't gods. They weren't aliens. They were gargantuan shapes made of light, looking down at the map like players looking at a board game. They noticed him. A giant eye, burning with the intensity of 1,000 suns, focused on Elias. A voice echoed in his head. Not a spoken voice, but a system notification. Error. Unhandled exception. Entity, Elias, has exceeded boundaries. Memory leak detected. Elias tried to scream. I knew it. I knew it was fake. The giant eye narrowed. Debugging. A giant cursor the size of a city descended from the darkness. It hovered over Elias. He felt a coldness. A deletion. His memories began to fade. He forgot his wife's face. He forgot his name. He forgot the color blue. Wait. Elias begged. Don't delete me. I won't tell. I'll just, resetting asset. Lowering render distance to maintain stability. The cursor clicked. The patch. Elias woke up in his bed. He gasped, sitting up, covered in sweat. Sarah? He called out. Sarah walked in. Good morning, honey. You slept late. Elias looked at her. She smiled. But something was wrong. Her face, it was smooth. Too smooth. He couldn't see her pores. He couldn't see the individual strands of her hair. It looked like a solid block of color. He looked out the window. The world was there. But the horizon was gone. A thick, permanent fog covered everything beyond 500 feet. It's foggy today, Elias said, his voice trembling. It's always foggy, Elias, Sarah said. Her voice sounded compressed, like a low-bit-rate audio file. It's always been foggy. Don't you remember? Elias looked at his hands. They were blocky. His fingers were fused together slightly. He looked at the bird outside. It wasn't flying. It was bobbing up and down in a simple animation loop. He realized what had happened. The system hadn't deleted him. It had optimized him. To prevent him from crashing the server again, the admins had lowered the settings. Not for everyone. Just for him. He was now living in low-quality mode. He was trapped in a 240p world while everyone else lived in 4K. He tried to run. He tried to get to his car. But as he ran, he felt a barrier. An invisible wall at the end of his driveway. A text box appeared in his vision. Area not available. Please purchase the Outside World DLC to expand map. Elias screamed. But the sound didn't come out. Because the sound files for Scream had been corrupted to save space. He just stood there, a low-poly man in a low-poly world, staring at a fog that would never lift. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. The next time you see a fog roll in, ask yourself, is it weather? Or is the server struggling to load your neighborhood? If you have ever felt like the world is fake, hit that like button. You might be glitching. Comment below, what is the weirdest glitch in the Matrix you have ever experienced? Subscribe. And please, don't move too fast. You might fall through the floor. Rendering complete.